Good morning. We'll call this meeting of the Amador County Board of Supervisors for May 19th to order. The board met in closed session. Item 1, direction was given to staff. Item 2, 2A, the claim was denied. Item 2B, the late claim was denied. The confidential minutes were approved 5-0, and we'll now open the regular session. Would you join us in Pledge of Allegiance? First item on the agenda is public matters not on the agenda. Discussion items only, no action be taken. Any person may address this board on any subject within the board's jurisdiction. However, any matter that requires action may be referred to staff and or committee for a report and recommendation for possible action at a subsequent board meeting. Please note there's a 3-minute limit per person, and we ask you to state your name and sign in if you come to the podium. So we welcome any public comment. Somebody's got to go first. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is David Pendleton. I am a 50-year resident of this county, a retired peace officer, and the court-appointed conservator of the person and estate for my son, Brett, a 40-year-old man with a 5-year-old brain. And today, I'm not just discussing with the Board of Supervisors, I'm also discussing with the governing body of IHSS. And I found this in Amador County's own organizational chart. And in the small fine print, little asterisk, it says, IHS is a separate from social services, but utilizes SS funding. It is governed by the Board of Governors, which is you, who are the Board of Supervisors. So, and that's under Amador County Code Chapter 2.72. The Board of Supervisors is a direct legal governing body of the IHSS public authority. You are the bosses, and the buck stops with you. Yesterday at 5 p.m., your administration blew a hard deadline to fix a clear error on my son's file, specifically my 46.13 hours per month allocation. By forcing this onto a Sacramento ALJ docket, instead of managing your house, you are running up an institutional liability and replacement care tab of over $415 a day. Every single day this is stalled, the meter ticks on the taxpayer dime. Right now, it is at approximately $325,000 of back pay to date. You're withholding records to cover up 5 years of county liability. 5 years ago, I handed Adult Protective Services the casino logs and photos proving my late sister plundered my parents' trust and my son's SSI while he lived in neglect. She is lucky she died before going to prison. Your agency response back then, APS, no investigation, just to thank you, have a nice day, after they did a walkthrough, and I showed them what the house looked like when I walked in and what it looked like as they walked through it, much cleaner. Wasn't perfect, but getting there. Now, you're withholding records that cover up 5 years of institutional neglect. This section here, I want county council to look at. I have been a peace officer. I work with codes and numbers, and these pertain to you. Under California Code Section 815.6, that's the direct liability of the APS not doing their investigative duties. Then you got Welfare Institution Code, Section 15657.7. That regards the discovery rule, statutory tolling, and also statute of limitations. And then you got Welfare Institution Code 15657.5, reckless concealment. And that basically puts you all on the hook for my cost, my time, fees as a conservator. And in closing, just recently, March 17th, I survived a heart attack. And then also on March 24th, I personally addressed the board and warned you guys about this. I don't have time for bureaucratic games. You cannot hide behind Director Watts or Deetra Miller, and they cannot hide behind you, since you are the governing authority. You can change it now. The paperwork in front of you, I hope someone on the board sees fit to make a motion today to pull out of this bureaucracy, govern like they were elected to do, and get this fixed locally. And I want to say in closing, this is not personal against any one of you. I think everyone is a fine person. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Morning, Val.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. My name is Valerie Spake. I am the district representative for Senator Marie Alvarado Gill, as you all know, but for those in the audience that may not know, I've got a couple announcements today. I'm going to be holding mobile office hours here in conference room C between 10:30 and 12:30. So for anyone who's listening or in the room, if they want to come and talk about any issues they're having with state agencies, come see me. The invitation's open to everyone on the board as well. So I will be doing that today. And the other little tidbit of information I have is it's time for the 2026 Minerva scholarships. So I wanted to make this announcement because it's a great opportunity for those kids in high school. This scholarship was established by the Women in California Leadership Foundation. This scholarship supports outstanding female students pursuing higher education. Scholarship recipients from Senate District are nominated by the office of Senator Marie Alvarado Gill. Eligible applicants must be full-time students in good academic standing, that's graduating from high school. Seniors accepted to an accredited college or university, they must maintain a minimum of 2.5 GPA. The deadline for these scholarships is May 31st. I will send all the information to everyone here. There's a flyer outside in the corridor so they can know where to apply. There's going to be 2 scholarships for $3,000 and 1 scholarship for $10,000. So I hope some Amador County female students take this opportunity to apply. Thank you for your time today. Have a great one.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. My name's Lori Donaldson, and I'm here with my fellow Amber Kuntz, IHSS care provider. We are also both members of the bargaining team and we just came to a wonderful, I'm at a loss for words. Very strange, that doesn't happen very often. We just wanted to come back. I know the contract has been accepted, the new contract for the next 3 years for the IHSS care providers. But we just wanted to come back today and thank you for hearing us out at all of the board meetings, listening to us and hearing our plight. Not only our plight, but the plight of the community that needs our assistance. We came to a really nice wage increase. Thank you. Some great training opportunities going forward, which obviously will only benefit the providers and the recipients as well. And hopefully we can attract some new people to become IHSS care providers because it is so needed in this community. We have a lot of folks that still need assistance and not quite enough providers for that. But we just wanted to come back collectively and thank you very much for the time that you've given to us and for agreeing to this new contract. We appreciate every minute of your time, and thank you. Have a blessed day.
Curious question, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Certainly.
What's the hourly wage for the care providers now?
Right at this moment, it's $18.40 per hour.
And what's it going to then?
$19.40 per hour with the first increase, so it's a 3-year contract, and so there'll be an increase for the following year and then the year after that. But it's not $1 per year. The second one was what, 35 cents?
35 cents.
So-
The next one's 45 cents.
So yeah, so the second year will be 35 cents. For third year will be 45 cents. So,
Thank you.
hey, thank you very much again, and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any Zoomers?
No, not at this time.
Anything from the board? All right, well, we'll move on from there. The next item is approval of the agenda, and we have an addendum. And I've decided we'll put it as 4B1. Is that how you'd announce it, Chuck? 4B1? Okay.
So that will be the third item on the.
Yeah, it'll be the third item, but it's, okay, everybody got that?
Yep.
With that, I'm looking for an approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular agenda with the addition of item 4B1.
Second.
Second from Brian. We had a motion by Supervisor Epperson and a second by Supervisor Neto to approve the amended agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to the regular agenda, 4A is a resolution declaring May as Mental Health Matters Month.
Point of order, we got a consent agendas next there, sorry.
Oh, I jumped. I'm sorry about that.
Chairman.
Thank you. All right, the consent agenda is before you. Anything we need to pull or discuss or not? I'd entertain a motion. Public comment. No Zoomers? All right. Back to the board.
Move to approve.
Right.
I'll second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Cornell, a second by Supervisor Brown to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now we'll move on to item 4, which is the regular agenda. The first item, 4A, is a resolution declaring May as Mental Health Matters Month. We have a resolution here to read, and I'll let some folks come on up.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Supervisors. I'm Melissa Cilio. I serve as your program coordinator with behavioral health. And I'm joined today by members of our department as well as community partners who work every day to support the mental health and wellness of our community. Mental Health Awareness Month was established way back in 1949 to increase awareness of the importance of mental health and wellness in Americans' lives and to celebrate recovery. It's been recognized every year since then in the United States. We want to thank you for raising awareness this month about the importance of mental health. One of the barriers that we continue to hear throughout our community planning process, one of the barriers to accessing care is stigma. Both around the stigma around having a mental health condition and the stigma for seeking treatment. And public recognitions like this and proclamations like this are incredibly significant because they help to normalize mental health care and remind us that caring for our mental health is just as important as caring for our physical health. So thank you for that today. And by normalizing conversations about mental health, and increasing visibility like we are doing today. This fosters a more compassionate community where individuals feel safe and empowered to seek care, which ultimately improves our overall community's well-being. And we want to recognize all of our partners and behavioral health providers who work every day to reduce stigma and support our community in their mental health recovery. We cannot do this work alone, and we are grateful for their partnership and vital support they provide the community. At this time, I'd like to invite any of our staff members or providers who would like to share a few words to please come to the podium.
Good morning. My name is Amy. I'm a personal service coordinator with Amador County Behavioral Health, and I would just like to share a little bit of why this position and mental health is important to me. My passion for behavioral health is deeply personal. My oldest daughter, who is now 32 years old, spent more than 10 years being misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder. During that time, she went through multiple psychiatrists, therapists, and medication combinations that never truly helped her. As a mother, it was heartbreaking to watch her struggle mentally and emotionally while feeling powerless to fix it. 2 years ago, she finally connected with a psychiatrist who took the time to fully evaluate her. She was then correctly diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and ADD. That accurate diagnosis changed everything. With the right treatment plan and medication regime, she began to stabilize and become the person she had always fought so hard to be. Today, I'm incredibly proud to say she just completed her first year of her master's program with straight A's. Watching her succeed after so many years of pain, confusion, and being misunderstood has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. To say I am proud of her would be an understatement. She is not only my daughter, she's my hero. Her journey is a reason I care so deeply about behavioral health and why I believe access to proper diagnosis, compassionate providers, and effective treatment can truly change and save lives. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Nina Machado, the Executive Director of First Five, and thank you very much for acknowledging this really important topic. With First Five, we have an opportunity to start early, and we know that prevention is key to everything that includes our physical health as well as our mental health. So as First Five, we have an opportunity to start early with pregnant moms and families with children 0 to 5 years old, which helps reduce the stigma. People feel more comfortable accessing resources. We provide licensed clinical social workers who can help during maybe challenging times with postpartum depression and anxiety to resolve things early. I mean, if you even look at it, if you take away the human part of it, well, business is human still, but, and look at the economics. I mean, our first investment is our cheapest. And I think if we can continue to focus on stigma reduction, prevention efforts, we'll go a long way in creating as Melissa so eloquently said, a healthier community. So thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Nina, and thank you, Amy. And just want to highlight too, as I was listening to Amy, that 2 years ago, we started a workforce survey. And one of the things that we found is overwhelmingly our workforce is filled with individuals who have lived experience, who have family members that live with a mental health condition or have experienced themselves living with a mental health condition. And that is incredibly significant and is leveraged in the work that we do to support our community members' recovery. So that is incredible strength, and that is, the survey is distributed throughout our entire behavioral health plan. So that is all of our providers as well. But thank you again, and together we can continue to reduce stigma and encourage individuals to seek help in our community and improve mental health. Thank you.
All right. I have a resolution I'd like to read, get it on the record. This is a resolution declaring the month of May 2026 as Mental Health Matters Month. Whereas mental health conditions affect children, adults, and their families, and whereas recent behavioral health data indicate that nearly 1 in 5 California adults experiences a mental health condition each year, and approximately 1 in 14 children ages 6 through 17 experiences a serious emotional disturbance that substantially limits functioning at home, in school, or in the community. And whereas mental health conditions can substantially impact an individual's health, relationships, employment, housing stability, and overall quality of life, reinforcing the importance of accessible, community-based behavioral health services and support. And whereas every day millions of people face stigma related to mental health and may feel isolated and alone, going years before receiving any help. And whereas recovery can and often does, and all Californians should know that support and help is available regardless of any individual situation. And whereas creating a community where everyone feels comfortable reaching out for the support they receive and deserve is crucial to ending the stigma around mental health. And whereas access to support and ending the stigma is of paramount importance, and whereas the Amador County Board of Supervisors wish to enhance public awareness of mental health now, therefore be it resolved that the Amador County Board of Supervisors hereby recognize May 2026 as Mental Health Matters Month in Amador County. The foregoing resolution was adopted and passed by the Board of Supervisors unanimously. Thank you. Any public comment on this? Supervisor? All right.
Thank you for all your work.
Yeah, thank you very much. Melissa, do you want to say something? Oh, I saw you leaning towards the microphone.
They were just asking if we were gonna take a photo.
Sure, we can do that.
Come back.
Come back.
We need to vote
Yeah,
on
we
this.
got our photo expert here.
How tall are you?
Chair,
Big
Chair?
girls on, sorry.
we need a point of order. We need to actually vote on it.
Okay. Is that a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as we said we did. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Miraculously, motion carries 5-0.
Happens every now and then.
All this procedural stuff gets away from me.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Keep up the good work.
I think I'm next anyway.
You're just, that's right. All right. 4B is the Valley View Commons update on the project and approval of resolution authorizing execution of the funding documents for Home Key Plus funding from the state. Suggested actions, approval of the resolution, and you were right.
Good morning. So we are back to talk about Valley View Commons, previously known as No Place Like Home or Danco project. I was looking last week, and the first time we applied for anything related to this project was fall of 2017. So we've been on this ride for a long time, and it's starting to feel like we're getting closer to that finish line. So we have a resolution and some agreements that need to be approved, but I'm going to turn it over to James Coles from Housing Tools to provide an update and explanation of what we're requesting today. And then we also have Jaden and Chris from Danco on the line if we have any questions.
Good morning, Chairman Crew and Supervisors. Good to be with you this morning. Valley View Commons is a 46-unit permanent supportive housing project that has been in the planning stages for the past 6 years, at least. The project was a key goal of the Amador County 10-year plan to address homelessness, which was adopted by the Board of Supervisors in June of 2020. The Amador County Behavioral Health Department has brought Valley View Commons before the board numerous times to request authority to apply for state funds and to provide updates on progress. And most recently, on February 18th, 2025, the Board of Supervisors adopted Resolution 25016, which approved submission of an application in response to the 2025 Home Key Plus Notice of Funding Availability to provide funding for Valley View apartments. And on October 13th, 2025, the county and developer Danco received an award letter committing about $15 million of Home Key Plus funds to the project. With this award, the project has received all funding commitments necessary to finance development of the project. The purpose of the proposed resolution before the Board of Supervisors is to authorize entering into loan agreement documents necessary to close construction loans and begin construction on the project. This project is a partnership between Amador County Behavioral Health Department and Danco Communities. Amador County Behavioral Health will administer the No Place Like Home and Home Key Plus funds from the state, provide wraparound supportive services to tenants to support their self-sufficiency, and refer tenants for occupancy through the county's Continuum of Care Coordinated Entry System. Danco Communities will be the project developer and owner. Danco has extensive experience in developing, managing, and operating affordable housing, including permanent supportive housing. Danco owns and manages 575 units of permanent supportive housing across California. Danco will develop, own, and manage Valley View Commons, including maintenance and property management. Just like to summarize some of the key aspects of the project for you. This will be 46 units within 3 separate 2-story structures, including 18 studios, 25 one-bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 1 3-bedroom for the on-site manager's unit. 35 units will have rents affordable to 30% of area median income for unhoused persons with mental disabilities, and 10 units with rents affordable to 50% of area median income. The development will include a community building with meeting space and offices, 64 parking spaces, as well as bike parking. The Behavioral Health Department will provide case management and mental health services to tenants, including individualized services planning and connections to mental health, substance use, employment, health, and housing retention services. Danco will provide a dedicated service coordinator for all tenants in the project to refer them to community services, and will work with local law enforcement to address any safety concerns. The project has secured a planning permit from the city of Sutter Creek and has completed environmental review process with final approval from the State Housing and Community Development Department. Project financing includes the Home Key Plus funds, as well as state No Place Like Home funds, state home funds, and a bridge loan during construction from the Bank of California. The Behavioral Health Director recommends that the Amador County Board of Supervisors adopt the resolution to authorize Amador County Administrative Officer or the ACBH Director to execute the Home Key Plus loan documents and related subordination agreements. This will enable the project to begin construction next month. And that concludes my presentation. Open it up for discussion. Thanks.
Questions? Sounds like you're finally there. I heard a rumor in Amador County, you know, if you haven't heard a rumor by 10, you're supposed to start one. That there was a question about maybe who the ownership of the road going into the property. And I thought that would have been handled somewhere in the mitigation. Is that just another wild rumor?
Maybe we'll let Jaden Johnson, who's with Danco and joining virtually.
Oh, sure.
Maybe she could answer that. Yeah, or Chris Dart, who's with Danco.
Hello. Can you hear me? Sorry, it was saying it wouldn't let me unmute.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Are you referring to Bowers or Valley View Road?
I'm not even sure of that.
Okay. There is the access point is going to be a shared use access with a current existing apartment building that will come off of Bowers Road and enter into the property. And so we are in the process of putting a shared use easement in place that will be recorded at close.
Okay, maybe that's what started that rumor. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, of course.
Any other questions?
Questions were answered a while back, so.
Yeah. Any public comment? Come forward.
Forward, yeah, come on.
Yes.
Valley View and Bowers?
It's across from the transportation complex over there.
Sutter Creek, Bowers Road, Valley.
Yeah, right across from the transportation center. That's the empty lot on the corner.
Any other
Actually,
questions?
I had one question.
Sure, shoot.
I don't think it happened, but in the event of a default, does the county have to take over and manage the property?
So all of the lenders have will record deeds of trust on the property. Actually, the state home program is superior to, in the lien order, to the
Senior lender?
Yeah, as a senior. So likely in that case, the state would be responsible. They could either find a new developer or take ownership in some way. But that's that deed of trust is recorded to provide security for their loan as well as the county's loan and for the other lenders. So there's a whole lien order that's in place to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any Zoomers?
No, not at this time.
All right, last call for public comment. Thank you for the update. Bring it back to the board.
I'd make a motion to authorize a CAO to execute the home key plus loan documents and related agreements.
Second?
Right.
That's the whole resolution.
Okay, and approve the resolution too.
Right, we had a motion by Supervisor Oneto to approve the resolution funding vehicle, and a second by Supervisor Brown. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
9 short years.
Thank you.
All right, now we're gonna go to the addendum 1, which is 4B1. It is a discussion and possible action relative to the City of Sutter Creek project referral, site plan permit, and conditional use permit for a proposed cannabis dispensary.
I'm up here, GSA Director Glenn Spitzer, just to provide some context on this.
Please.
The City of Sutter Creek asked the county for comment on or before May 29, so that's why this is before you right now. And the proposed project is a is a marijuana facility at the vacant Umpqua Bank building that's on Ridge next to 49. And so this would be the first marijuana THC facility in the county. And just so everyone's clear, there are facilities that sell CBD hemp products. The difference between CBD and THC is that THC is the hallucinogenic. That's the drug part. So this would be the very first drug retailer, of marijuana drug retailer in the county. And it has delivery capabilities also. So this would be groundbreaking for the county, in short. So before the city, as I understand, it's a zone change and a development agreement. And the zone change, from what I understand, is just to allow the use to take place. And the development agreement would add approximately 8 to 9% in sales tax revenues. So it's the equivalent of sales tax revenues. City of Sutter Creek already has a 2% sales tax, so this would bring it, for this facility, between 10 and 11% sales tax revenue for this, going to the city, just to the city. So the issue before the county is mitigation. California law requires that a developer, an applicant, project applicant, has to mitigate their impacts below a level of significance. And arguably, they've done that for the city of Sutter Creek by providing them financial means to address their impacts. But the greater weight of impacts is going to fall on the county. It's going to be countywide impacts to the IHSS department, sheriff's department, and other departments. And I discussed that with some of the directors of these departments. So I reached out to IHSS, the Human Health and Human Services departments, and I heard back from Social Services Director Ann Watts. She informs me that the greatest impact to social services will be in child welfare, where substance abuse contributes to child abuse and neglect, and she anticipates an increased use of marijuana by foster youth. Those are the most vulnerable youth in our county. And an increased likelihood of traffic accidents. I'm sure we're all aware of marijuana's impacts on traffic safety. And that this will burden her department because if the drug abuse involves causes the traffic accidents, it really ropes CPS, Child Protective Services, into the mix. And then they've got increased burdens related to reporting, investigation, court intervention, and case management. So it's a significant strain on social services. Heard from Public Health Director Joanne Hasten, and she told me that the project could lead to an increase in, as we discussed, traffic safety. But she also raised the really important point that this facility is in walking distance from the two public schools in the county. And this is a really important point because the retail facility, legal retail facility, is going to increase access and destigmatize marijuana use for the youth, and thereby increase use. We anticipate significantly especially for adolescents. And I spoke with former Sheriff Martin Ryan, and he provided a wealth of information on this topic. And he provided a highlight sheet providing basic facts, and he gave me some other information that I'll submit to the clerk, so it's on record. He anticipates significant impacts to dispatch, to the county's investigation services, to the coroner's office, to the jail, to the sheriff's office patrol, to mental health services, and to probation. And I just wanted to read a couple of the highlights from the fact sheet because they're really interesting. The marijuana, I think, that everyone's familiar with. Woodstock marijuana up to the 80s or so. That has THC content of between 1 and 3%, just to put this in context. The marijuana content, the THC content from the products from these retailers selling the oils, waxes, vapes, can reach between 50 and 90%. So it's a powerful drug. Another fact here, San Diego County reported in 2022 that 43% of all suicides among persons aged 25 and under involved THC in their system at the time of death. And another fact from former Sheriff Ryan's sheet here is that California State Auditor reports that children under 5 were the most vulnerable with ER ingestion cases, increasing 1,477% from 2016 to 2023. National Poison Control calls for children between 0 and 12 for THC edible exposure jumped 752% between 2018 and 2023. So significant health and safety impacts for the children of Amador County. But not to leave senior citizens out of this. A UC San Diego health study highlighted 1,808% increase in cannabis-related ER visits to Californians aged 65 and older between 2005 and 2019. And I provided all this information to Sheriff Redmond and to Under Sheriff Benoff. Spoke with Jared about this, and he relayed that the sheriff's office is in agreement with former Sheriff Martin Ryan's assessment of this, and so our health and safety experts, leaders in the county, have these conclusions about what the impacts will be, and the issue is whether there's factual data to support those impacts. And in California, we've been told for the last 15 years or so that no, there's really no concern. You know, marijuana has health benefits, really small downside, no issue. And the problem is that people have been unable to refute those claims because there are no robust studies. It's mostly anecdotal evidence and people saying, yeah, I feel good, and okay, that's just taken as gospel. And there have been a flood of studies in the last few years that refute those claims of health benefits. But more to the point, there may be some outlier relevant benefits, but more to the point, the detrimental impacts are significant. And I just wanted to highlight a couple of the studies that came out just recently. A UC San Diego study that came out just a couple weeks ago. Finally, robust studies coming into the mix here. This is 11,000 participants, and the doctor from UC San Diego, they determined that the marijuana actually restricts an adolescent's ability to develop skills for memory, attention, language, processing information. And this is physical impacts on the brain, actual physical changes to the brain. So kids 11, 12, 13 experimenting with marijuana, they won't really see those differences, but what happens is the impacts on their brains will cap their ability to develop these basic human skills that we need to survive. And they'll hit this level, whereas non-users will hit a much higher level of ability in those critical areas. So, and I've seen a number of other studies that address this in terms of IQ. For example, a study showing you can diminish your IQ by 8 points if you're a regular user of marijuana. That just came out in Wall Street Journal, reported on it a month ago. This other study that came out just a couple of months ago, very robust study, 500,000 participants, again on the issue for adolescents. The doctors from Journal of American Medical Association determined that teens were twice as likely to develop schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, twice as likely if they're marijuana users. And the incidence for depression and anxiety disorders on the subject of being Mental Health Matters Month, skyrockets for adolescents because of marijuana use. And so then the other reports really quickly, a study from Wright State University found over 40% of drivers who died in a car crash had marijuana in their system. Last one I just want to touch on, there are actually hundreds of these new studies coming out. This one's from American College of Cardiology, reports skyrocketing incidents of heart attack and stroke related to marijuana. They reviewed 4.6 million people's records and determined that your incidence, if you're under 50, 6 times more likely to die from a heart attack from marijuana use, from regular marijuana use, and 4 times more likely to die from stroke. So I just want to say that the evidence is ample and supports the conclusions of the safety, public safety and health leaders and experts in the county. And so what I'm here for is basically saying, if the board is so inclined, I would draft a letter to the city of Sutter Creek just seeking mitigation for these impacts so that all these burdens don't fall on the county without any means to address them.
Okay. Any questions for Glenn?
I just have a comment. I think there's a big difference between THC and CBD. And CBD is available at places in the county
Yes.
for medical use.
There are retail centers that sell CBD. This would be the first THC.
You're having a hard time getting marijuana, you don't have good enough friends, I guess. I mean,
And the other important point that former Sheriff Martin Ryan brought to my attention was that if you buy over $100 worth of THC marijuana, you can get retailers from outside of the county to drive to you to drop that off.
yeah, they do already. I know I own years ago when we heard the first hearings, that was one of the things. We just limited the number of plants, and we didn't really restrict, and very difficult to restrict deliveries anyway. And I know the delivery guys, I see them coming through, they're still pretty active, so the resource is not hard to come by, I don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad for the local medicinal use users, they can go to San Andreas, from what I understand.
Yeah, or they can grow. Under California state law, you can grow a certain
Andreas will
amount.
deliver too? Yeah.
Explains
So
it.
it's not like we're holding up the medicinal use.
Yeah.
You know, I will say I was talking to a friend of mine a few years back, and he's went to a college reunion, and he's there passing around a joint. He's, yeah, back in college you did that. And this guy's like 50-some years old. And I thought, oh, heck, for old time's sake, he'd take a puff. And he's oh, my God. He says, he saw stars and had to call his wife to come and get him. He says, it's not like the stuff he had years ago where you got a little buzz and no big deal. Now he said it was pretty earth-shattering.
Yeah.
It's different material.
It's a different world, and particularly because of the edibles. And the edibles taste delicious, so you could see kids especially just throwing them back if they come into contact, which is why you're seeing this skyrocketing increase of ER visits for children.
Mm-hmm. I can attest to that. My spouse works at an ER, and I can tell you she sees overdoses, all kinds of stuff. They don't think you're not overdosing. You clearly can. The increase has been marked, I would say, anecdotally.
Any other questions for Glenn?
I just wanted to add something to that. Most of you know that I'm retired military, 24 years. And one of the hardest things I've had to do is to put an airman in jail because of marijuana use. When you know darn well you're going to get a urine analysis, it's random, and then try to tell the family you're on your own. Tell the family you have to get home. And so that it's a hard thing for me to even see this come into the county, and it is an incredible point that people at a certain point don't care. Don't care what is happening around them. They only care about themselves, not caring how it'll affect everybody that surrounds them as they're on this material. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
I'll add one comment as well. This decision to proceed seems almost solely financial. There's projected sales of $2 to $6 million of marijuana into the community, with a possibility of being able to tax 10% of that. And I found it to be an absolute truism for individuals, families, boards, governing bodies. If your deciding factor is solely revenue generation, the sacrificial lamb, and that will always be the children. So they will bear the cost in some way.
All right, I'm going to open it up for public comment. Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to jump in here because I have to leave for a 10 o'clock meeting. I appreciate all of the comments. I appreciate all the research that was just presented. As the First Five Executive Director, my concern is obviously young children and their families. I'm not going to speak to the number because I don't have the exact number, but yes, we have had very young children in the emergency room in Amador County because of edibles. I worked for tobacco reduction of Amador County for 5 years, and I know the concerns that we have even right now with youth who are vaping. So I think we would be very naive to think that we would be able to control this. We can't control the vaping that's going on right now. So, you know, the young children of today are soon to be the parents of tomorrow. So I appreciate your comments.
All right. If you could state your name for the record, we are recording.
Hi, my name is Brian Combs. I live in Sutter Creek. I've been there a couple of years. On a personal note, my involvement with the county goes back to 1970. I honeymooned at the National Hotel here in Jackson, so I've been around a long time. But not here totally, just recently. I sent you a letter yesterday.
Yes.
I hope you read it. These are some of the same points. I'd say with, is it Spitzer, is it? Yeah, it's a hard act to follow. You know, I read the thing, the context of what the city sent you, asked you to, well, hey, look at the paint, look at the parking. You know, you don't notice, they don't mention the fact that it's a 13-minute walk from Danco to this facility. And Danco is going to have a lot of people who are struggling with things like drug addiction. So, you know, that was left out of that planning document.
There's a high school right next door to
The
Danville.
high school too. Anyway, it's poorly located. You know, what they should be doing, and I can't implore you enough to do whatever you can. I know it's not your call, you're not Sutter Creek, but whatever it is to the extent this board can put pressure on Sutter Creek not to do what they're looking at doing, I would really appreciate it. I mean, imagine, okay, if Sheriff Redmond did a $5 million bust, that'd be big news, wouldn't it? All right, yet Sutter Creek wants to bring increasing dollar amounts of this THC drug to our county. And they're saying, well, okay, $2 million first year, $6 million by 2028. And Embark's saying, well, that's conservative. You know, it could be $10 million. They're dangling that big money out there. And it's attractive because Sutter Creek's struggling. But it's more than just the money, okay? So, you know, I encourage you to read that Sutter Creek budget scenario. I sent you the link to that, and look at page 68 where Tom DeWaz talks about, well, yeah, we can solve our budget problems, get a dispensary. I think that's a bad decision. You know, I mean, imagine, you know, it's a little bit out of hand, but imagine a city program. Hey, save the city budget, buy more pot, right? No way. You've received a lot of material from Ryan through Spitzer talking about the harms to use, so I won't go over that. And Embark does push, apart from high potency stuff, now they promulgate drug pot culture. I would like to pass out some of their marketing materials.
Sure.
Discover your high. Get stoned to the bone. This is the material that's on their website. These people, it's not, oh, it's wellness, not wellness. They're you know, they're promoting impaired living. So, you know, and I guess the other question I'm trying to do is, you know, the city council passed a resolution saying that shouldn't even go to the planning commission until they voted on it. I mean, why are you guys even looking at a permit or approach for an illegal operation in Sutter Creek? I think your answer ought to back to Sutter Creek, apart from mitigation issues, ought to be, hey, we don't do illegal business in this county. Change the law first. I'll close with this. What better way to support Mental Health Month than to tell Sutter Creek, don't bring this stuff to our county, all right? And, you know, it's primarily for the convenience of people who just can't drive to Calaveras, which is, I think, is a pretty awful way to look at youth. There's 7,000 kids in this county. Every one of them might be affected by this, and I suggest do your can to make this thing go away. Thank you.
You know, one quick comment I will say, part of the problem is how many of us has kids or relatives that are on those damn energy drinks? I mean, I don't know how you control human nature.
Come. Good morning.
Morning. My name is Ron Hauk. I'm a resident in Sutter Creek. For 10 years now, my wife and I moved back to Amador County after being away for a few years, and built a home, and so we love Sutter Creek. We also love Jackson. We go back and forth all the time. Just to mention that dispensary, that's going to affect Jackson as much as Sutter Creek. It's going to affect everybody because of the location, for one, but also it's right there on that place where everybody's commuting back and forth all the time. So I want to talk about briefly about a study done by another study done by Dr. Laura Sykes. She's a professor at Yale, and so this is from the Yale School of Medicine. This is here, and I pass out a copy to everybody. Yale School of Medicine. And I just want to briefly mention a few of the findings on this study. Cannabis use became more legal. Once it became legal, cannabis use became more severe. The severity of cannabis use increased after legalization in the community. And that's in this study. This is a study done in Connecticut. A very similar situation to what we have here. More people for the first time needed mental help for treating psychosis and elevated psychosis and schizophrenia after it was legalized. It's kind of ironic that I came here on this particular day after hearing the Mental Health Month coming aboard. So that's a nice thing. Second, daily cannabis use after it was legalized became much more common, resulting in more problems with psychosis and schizophrenia again, and in the community, throughout the community. So that's three. The third thing is, despite Connecticut's legal age of 21, the severity of schizophrenia and psychosis also increased in those under age 21. So imagine that. They were able to get it even though it wasn't legal. And that happens already. So we don't have to make it easier for them to get it. The other thing is, it created a situation where there was more responsibility in the community, and there are consequences for that in the community. They had to spend more on monitoring and surveillance in the community of cannabis users in the community, and that increased dollars. It increased cost and time that people had to spend dealing with the situation. It required more screening of those already at high risk, already the people that have problems with all of these psychosis-related problems. It increased the cost for that type of thing. It led to more crime in the area, led to more erratic behavior, which we know, as everybody has already shared, more headaches, more psychosis, more responsibilities, more crime, more education. Had to deal with that also. So my questions to you and to anybody who's involved in putting this facility in the community, do you really want to have more psychotic problems in our community? Do you want to deal with this in the community? 2, are you willing to pay more money to monitor and have surveillance of psychosis and erratic behavior in the community? You're also putting a great strain, as everybody's already shared, on the legals, basically on the police departments, on anybody that's having to deal with this. Are you willing to have more adolescents under the age of 21 strung out on marijuana? That's really what's going on, what's going to happen. And it's already happened in Connecticut. That's the study I just passed out. It's already happened there. So do we really want to have that happen? So I love our community. My wife and I love Sutter Creek. We call it a little piece of paradise. And of course, people in Sutter Creek call it the jewel of the motherlode. Sometimes it is, and it's absolutely beautiful. So I urge everyone here that's involved in this to not allow this to come into the community. Bad ideas lead to bad outcomes. Good ideas always lead to good outcomes. We don't want a bad outcome. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for allowing us to speak in regards to this dispensary opening, the possibility of it opening in Sutter Creek. My name is Suzanne Hauk. I live in Sutter Creek along with my handsome husband, Ron Hauk, who just spoke. He is handsome. In regards to the proposed cannabis dispensary being invited to set up shop in Sutter Creek, I would first like to share our own personal experience with the dangers of cannabis use. 6 years ago, we invited our youngest son to come home and live with us while he worked on getting his life on a good track. One of our conditions for living with us was that there would be no drug use of any kind in or out of our home. During the 8 long months he lived with us, we endured a constant barrage of angry, disrespectful verbal attacks, assaultive behavior, and very combative conduct. We feared him in our own home. After living with us for 8 months, we discovered paraphernalia on our back deck, realized our son had been vaping liquid THC, in a bong the entire time he had been staying with us. He did a very good job of concealing his use from us. We confronted him, he denied it, but we had proof. We decided he needed to leave, and a great fight ensued between him and my husband. He would not leave. He was in an unstoppable rage. He was throwing things, including his computer screen. He was taunting my husband, trying to provoke him into physically fighting him. It was horrible and very frightening. And on a very personal level, I believe I have PTSD because of so many encounters with him during that time and prior. He did finally leave our property that day, and thankfully without involving the police department. When we looked at the progression of his terrible behavior, how it had escalated during the 8 months he was with us, we became convinced that his heavy use of vaping THC was the reason for his violent and erratic behavior. It was heartbreaking and a terrible time. Moving on, we love our small community. We love how safe it is. which was at the top of our reasons for moving here 10 years ago. We have done a bit of research on what happens to small communities where cannabis dispensaries open shop. These are just a few of the legitimate concerns that would affect our community adversely. There are risks of increased impaired driving, especially among our youth, and especially on 2-lane rural roads, which we have many of here in this county. The normalizing of cannabis use among our youth will only heighten disciplinary issues in our schools and in public. Cannabis use disorder, which is called, the acronym is CUD. It's a mental health condition characterized by the inability to control cannabis use despite the negative effects it has on your health, relationships, like our son, and responsibilities. It is an officially recognized substance use disorder in the medical field that can range from mild to severe, which is commonly referred to as addiction. Cannabis shops have been known to reduce property values in many areas similar to ours. People want to live here because of our safe and quiet rural climate. Sutter Creek should not have to say yes to what has been proven to be a very bad idea in many small towns. If Sutter Creek decides to move forward with this plan, the expected monetary gain, no matter what, for Sutter Creek will not be worth the many grave consequences that will befall our very special little town that we call home. And this decision will be on your watch, on whoever decides yes on this. This is on their watch. Please listen carefully to all those. This gentleman here, I can't believe all that he poured out. It's just awesome. Please listen carefully to all those who are in opposition of this dispensary, and for the many reasons why saying yes to this happening would be a very regrettable decision, one that we will not recover from. I vehemently oppose this dispensary opening up in Sutter Creek, and I thank you so much, each one of you, for the time just to share. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Julia?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I come as a citizen of Sutter Creek, but also in an office, a political office, and I have to be very careful on what I ask and what I say, as I cannot allude to how I would place my final vote on this issue facing our city eventually. I have one question, and I hope it's not rhetorical. While there could be mitigation financially assigned from the county, how can the county mitigate a culture of increased marijuana use, decreased risks the dispensary to Sutter Creek will bring?
That's a tough one. But sheriff would probably be the first person. He's the most obvious mitigation. And listening to all these facts, I would think that the school districts, because of the proximity to the dispensary, should have a public hearing of their own, because it's their students are going to be affected, and they'll be the first line of when there's problems, or before even the sheriff. So, and I hadn't heard anything about them even being asked for their mitigations. Can you speak to that, Glenn?
Yeah, so with a decision like this that will have significant impacts, it's a CEQA issue, and it requires the city of Sutter Creek to reach out to all the affected agencies. So through that process, the school district will have a say, and so that's how it should play out.
Okay. I just hadn't heard their name mentioned yet.
They're the most obvious.
Yeah, right. Any other public comment? Yes, ma'am. You.
Good morning, Supervisors. My name is Barbara Combs. I live in Sutter Creek also, and I am opposed to this dispensary. Am I speaking loud enough?
Yeah.
Pull the mic down a little bit.
Pull it towards you just a bit.
Here we go.
There you go.
Yeah, I just, in response to what you brought up about the schools, I did attempt to reach out to the principal at the Amador High School to explain what was going on, and I tried several times. He would not return my call, so I don't know where they're at. His secretary told me, well, they can't talk about these political issues on campus. I don't know what the situation is, but I think you're very right. They should be very involved on this, and they don't seem to be at this point, so I hope that you can have some influence on that. A couple of other things I wanted to respond to. The gummies. You can take a gummy, I understand, and it takes like maybe an hour for it to take effect. So especially kids would be inclined, if they were seeking some kind of high, they would be inclined to, oh, I'm going to take another one or another one, and pretty soon, they've got a really difficult situation to deal with. Vaping is happening in schools now, right in schools. I'm not saying it's happening here in school, I don't know, but I've read about Brentwood, for example. The kids are vaping in the bathrooms, and it's become a real issue. Making it more convenient for people to get this product is not a good idea. And for the city to be benefiting financially from this only condones the activity, it seems to me. They're saying, oh, this is all right, this is legitimate, this is okay, go ahead. If you're 18 years old and you can somehow secure a medical marijuana card, you can go into these dispensaries and buy more than the average person. You can buy stuff you don't even need, and there's no oversight. So you're 18, you're still in school maybe, right? You're still going to high school. Take it to school, give it to your friends, sell it to your friends, whatever. It seems like something that would, catch on for some of these kids as it becomes more available. And my understanding, there's no regulation on the THC levels. The products can have as much as the producers can make, And the other thing, I'm sure you're aware of this, but maybe some people don't remember, when this was passed in 2000, or just before 2015, over half the counties in the state and over half the cities they voted no on legalizing recreational marijuana. Most of the population areas are on the coast. That's why it was passed. But even then, people were inclined to support it, primarily perhaps because they felt that people were going to jail unnecessarily over, some minor drug use. And in the intervening time, we've seen how the potency has developed. Now that it's legal, they keep coming up with new products that are more potent. And not only that, we have been able to benefit from all the research that's come out on how harmful it has been to our children across the country where it has become legalized. So I really urge you to do what you're able to do, and I'm not sure what that is because you've been asked to take action on something that is illegal in Sutter Creek right now. Dispensaries have been banned by the Sutter Creek city, in the past they've banned. So you're being asked to take action on something that is currently illegal, and I don't understand how that works, but yeah. And the other thing is, Amador County was among those states, or among those counties that voted against having recreational marijuana. And I don't think that the opinion of the average citizen here has changed. So, thank you.
As far as I understand it, ours is a limited role only, and we are not involved in the yes or no of whether they have the dispensary. We are looking at the mitigations that it would bring to the county, just from the county's perspective. Am I saying that right?
But you are being asked to do something that is, to respond to a situation that is currently illegal. I don't get that.
And I will say too, the school board, I'm not sure all the members, some of them are definitely aware, and they are definitely taking a hard look at it, just to let you know. I would attend their board meeting as well and voice that issue and reinforce anyone that has concerns.
Because the question would be, if we are gonna make this legal, what mitigations would the county have? Sheriff and traffic and those kind of,
So this kind of thing has come up for you in the past?
oh yeah, we're asked for mitigation.
On currently,
Based on zone change mostly is with mitigation
The zone change is what
triggers that,
what triggers the.
yeah.
they're talking about it as though it is a zone change, but it also, we have a ban in effect in the city on dispensaries.
Oh, that's the city of Sutter Creek. We have no jurisdiction over that.
Right, but keep that in mind.
No, I appreciate the clarification, Supervisor Crew, because we're not making a decision on the dispensary. That is City of Sutter
Yes.
Creek's. All we're looking at is the mitigations.
Okay.
We can still talk about whatever here. I mean, you're welcome to talk about it, but
And share your concerns, and we acknowledge all of them. So,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Supervisors, so in a sense, yes, the comment letter would be about the mitigations, but the board still can express an opinion about whether Sutter Creek should approve or not approve the project. It's not binding, it's just expressing the board's opinion on the project, but you can do both together.
Okay.
So if the board wants to authorize Mr. Spitzer to do the comment letter, you can also direct him to include that the board is opposed to the project, if that's the desire of the board.
Any other public comment? Any Zoomers?
Not at this time.
There's one at least out there, I think she's.
Oh. Very patiently, you were sitting over there a few minutes ago.
Good morning, I'm Erin Ventura. I'm actually the contract city planner for the city of Sutter Creek, and I am just here to hear what you're saying, what the public is saying, and to be available to answer any questions. And I think the one thing that I heard that's not totally accurate is that we're not changing the zoning. They will be asking for a zoning ordinance amendment, and that would be to allow one dispensary within the city with a conditional use permit. So, and that is a different process, and obviously that would have to go first and be approved before they could get their site plan permit. Really, the site plan is for any building within a commercial zoning district that requires a building permit. So and that is what the referral was sent out. But there is a second part to this process that will be coming along, which is the zoning ordinance amendment.
And a conditional use permit is yearly, or do they decide how long the permit?
So with the conditional use permit, the city and the planning commission or city council can put any conditions that they want on it. So it could be that it's reviewed annually, or, you know, you can put checkpoints. Anytime that any of the conditions are violated, the conditional use permit can be removed. So it's one of the mechanisms the city has to ensure that businesses, are operating the way that they should be.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the zoning ordinance amendment would have to happen first before anything else can happen. So.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. Anyone else?
Hello, Jamie Labinko, District 5, Fiddletown. I'm sitting in this audience and something's weighing on my heart because I am a recent cancer survivor. And I wanted to share with you that these products are widely used to help people in cancer treatments, and both next to the UC Davis Cancer Center and all around Sutter and downtown Sacramento, there are dispensaries. So the access to these products for cancer patients is pretty widely available. So I just wanted to mention that. I also wanted to ask about large sums of cash. I know that there have been multiple large-scale marijuana grows that have been busted near my home in Fiddletown, and almost always the crime that surrounds those grows is relative to the cash. And I think until which time the federal government approves marijuana in certain ways, I don't believe that they can put their money in the bank. And so, to me, I would have questions regarding security, until which time, you know, maybe they can put their money in the bank like everyone else. I don't even know how they would pay the city of Sutter Creek. Do they pay the city of Sutter Creek in cash? At any rate, I just had some questions about the amounts of cash at that location. I know that it is a big concern for us that have these marijuana grows that pop up around our community. The large amounts of cash usually bring in certain amounts of crime. People don't come in and rob marijuana grows for the marijuana. They come in and rob marijuana grows for the cash. And I think that is what led to the death of a sheriff's deputy in El Dorado County. It was a robbery at a marijuana grow for the cash. So I don't want to be over dramatic about it, but I think it's an important question about the security at this location if they're going to be holding on to large sums of cash. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Anyone else? Okay. All right, I'll bring it back to the board. Again, we have to just focus on the mitigation as we see it has been reported to us. And if we want Glenn to draft the letter, I think we got a pretty good idea what the letter's gonna say. But my question would be, do we want to have a recommendation from the board either for or against the project, in addition to, here's the mitigations, these are problems, but the bigger problem is we're not for it, or if we're neutral, we probably wouldn't comment, but.
No, I think it's pretty easy to be against it. I think we need to look at the mitigation, try to figure out, I mean, I don't know how we even quantify a lot of it. I mean, the problem is, the impacts are, you know, some of them will be very obvious, some of them will not be. That's the bigger problem. And so how do we account for that? Because there will be impacts to Health and Human Services, to the school district. Again, hopefully the school district takes this up and looks at that real careful too.
And I just wanted to speak to that issue. I don't think we're at the point where we have to perfectly quantify these impacts.
Correct. Yes.
We want to bring these to the attention of the city of Sutter Creek to the maximum extent possible, so that within their CEQA process, we can bring these all to light and quantify them to the maximum extent possible, and consider mitigation measures that would mitigate these impacts.
Sure, I would think maybe some round numbers. I don't know if that's possible if we have other places that have done this, just to give it, I mean, I think, you know, how many zeros we're talking about, and if there's a way to do that, I don't know, but I totally understand what you're saying. I appreciate that, definitely agree. Yeah, that's possible.
All right, board.
I will say one thing, like what Ms. LeBanco brought up, there's something to that, as far as there's a lot of people, especially with cancer, with medical issues. It does help them, but I think they can have it delivered. I will say I talked to an older gentleman up Shake Ridge Road, nice guy, and he has probably terminal cancer. Not probably, he does. And he gets like patches, and he goes to Placerville to get them. And I said, well, why don't you have them delivered to your house? He says he didn't want people coming to his house, which that's a personal choice, but it's a factor. But I think I look at it and say, I see people can have it delivered. It is available. And I think putting it next to, you know, the housing we're going to be building and near the schools, and just, I think the harm is not worth the benefit. And I think people do have access to medical cannabis by delivery. So yeah, I see there's problems with this. And also I wonder about what the impacts would be to social services, the jail, mental health, child welfare, the whole 9 yards. With that said, I will say, I don't know why society has to do what they're doing, but it seemed like whether it's the fentanyl, whether it's a Rockstar energy drinks, whether it's kind of a little bit of a cultural problem. It's not just location. But I don't want to help make it worse. So, yeah, I have some concerns about the impacts to the county services.
Well, that would be covered in the mitigation part of that letter.
Yeah.
I think we need to make a strong statement, at least I am for making a strong statement that it's very short-sighted with more, as Logan said, you're making a deal with the devil just over revenue. Not that we all don't need more revenue. Haven't met a politician yet who didn't want more tax money. But it's how you get it, so.
I think we had a similar conversation. I don't know, maybe Supervisor Brown might have been in the board, maybe when the marijuana, grows, commercial grows, and we said, we felt that the money was not worth what it do to our county, and we live here, and the people represent wouldn't want it. I think that's kind of what we're looking at here with this dispensary. People in general, not saying some don't want it, but overall population, they're opposed to it.
And I'm not sure the revenue would be, I might be a little naive, but I ran a business for 38 years, $6 million worth of revenue. That'd be the second biggest business in the county.
I wanted to point out, I've seen some data that shows that despite expectations, only 27% of these facilities have been profitable. So
yeah.
There is
Well, if
that.
it's all cash.
Well, I'll say we heard the same story with marijuana grows, and it was gonna be like the utopia, the cornucopia of money, and all problems would go away. And Calaveras went for it.
Yeah.
And later on, I talked to some people in Calaveras and some supervisors in Calaveras, and they said it damn well was not worth it. I think it caused Calaveras a lot of problems. The commercial grows.
I'm for turning Mr. Spitzer loose. That's my vote.
Can we just do it by consensus? Direction to him to come with, because there's a deadline, you said.
Yeah, by the 29th.
Okay. Do we all want,
Yeah.
we want to add the comment that we're,
This would be an embarrassment to the county.
okay?
Yes.
Glenn, do you kind of have, we want to oppose it?
I'd say a motion might be better, just
Okay.
more clarity from the board.
Well,
Entertain, motion?
I'd make a motion that we direct Mr. Spitzer to write a letter with the concerns we've expressed today, opposition to it, and also with the impacts we believe it'll have to the county as far as providing services and impacts on our services.
I'll second.
All right. We had a motion by Supervisor Neto, a second by Supervisor Brown. Excuse me. In a response to a letter on mitigation and our feelings on the overall project. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for all your input. Very. Yes.
Loose. Turn loose.
You got a bicycle helmet or something you could wear? Yes, good idea. All right, we're in a dilemma here. It's time for the public hearing. Are we gonna do IHS first
We'll do that fast. Yeah, that will
and then do the,
adjourn this, convene as a Board of Governors, approve that agenda, approve the consent agenda, and then you're back.
okay. Whatever he just said. All right, we are gonna adjourn the Board of Supervisors meeting. We have a 10:30 meeting of the IHSS Public Authority Board of Governors, which we are also, so,
It'll be quick, though.
yeah,
Hang in there.
yeah. Okay. Now we are going to convene the regular meeting of the Amador County In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority Board of Governors. And the time at 10:30 or as close to, we're right on it. We're going to start with the approval of the agenda,
So moved.
Second.
approved by Supervisor Epperson, a second by Supervisor Carnell. All in favor of the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Public matters not on the agenda. These are discussion items, no action to be taken. Any person may address the board. Anything has to be required action, referred to staff for a report and recommendation for a possible action at a subsequent board meeting. Please note there's a 5-minute limit per topic. Any public comment? Any Zoomers? All right, we'll come down to miscellaneous matters. The first is to approve the minutes from June 24th, 2025 as presented or revised.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Oneto to approve the minutes, seconded by Supervisor Carnell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 2 is the Amador County Public Authority and SIU 2015 MOU. Request to approve the MOU between Amador County Public Authority and Union SEIU Local 215.
Just recommend approval.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Any public comment on this matter? All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Carnell, a second by Supervisor Epperson to approve the MOU. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. With that, this meeting of the Board of Governors is adjourned.
That's how meetings are supposed to go.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
All right. Should we take a break here? Yeah. Why don't we take a 7-minute break and come back at 22? We'll go use the facilities if I got a chance. Glenn, thank you.
I don't think your mic's on.
Chuck, the public hearing now would be next. Okay. Then we'll get,
Those will both be real fast.
yeah. All right, welcome back into session. We are gonna we're gonna jump to 5A as required for a 10:30 as noticed. Public hearing on the GSA update to the capital improvement plan for the 2006 and 2018 Park and Recreation Nexus studies. Well, you're spending the day with us, Glenn.
I'm here all day. Try the veal. Hey, so good morning again, Board GSA Director Glenn Spitzer. County's required to update these capital improvement plans annually, and so that's why we're here. The point of the CIP, the capital improvement plan, is that when the board collects development impact fees, then you have to spend them on what's in that plan. So that's what that's why it's important to update these plans. Make sure you've got a project to spend it on. And so we reached out to the cities. By the way, we've got 3 development impact fee funds for Parks and Rec. And so this CIP would apply to all of them. And we coordinated with all the cities, and some of them are here today. And we got it updated. We got their input, and so the CIP before you reflects all that input. And so we're just asking the board to adopt the resolution to update the CIP for the Park and Rec diff funds.
Okay? Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Question I have, you have the Veterans Park in Plymouth.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of ground for sale that they really need for parking for that park.
Okay.
I haven't checked what the price is. I'd heard a number a while back, but I haven't talked to the owner or the listing agent. I saw it listed recently. Is that something these fees could be used for?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would expand I don't think it's listed in there right now. We've got a project that would,
I see parking is listed in
There's
Plymouth.
a Veterans Memorial Park add parking area item.
Yes.
Is that different?
The intent of that item is to do the upgrades that Supervisor Brown, we were coordinating with, regarding the access to the back of Vets Hall, that whole issue. We're gonna address that and upgrade the parking lot. So I don't think this would cover, but we can make an amendment to the CIP to also include this issue. So it's basically the purchase of property that would be used for parking. Okay.
That seemed to me would be a park improvement.
Supervisor Oneta, are we talking about the one at Pioneer Park?
No, Plymouth.
Oh, in
Veterans Park.
okay, I'm sorry.
That's when you said Pioneer, I was a little bit confused.
Okay, I was confused. So we've,
Just don't know if that's it or not.
I don't know. I'm assuming
It'd be the Veterans Memorial Park, and that would be in Plymouth. It's
at a parking area.
yeah, it says at a parking area,
I think that clearly covers that. Yeah,
but I think the amount is probably not enough.
is insufficient. Do you have an estimate of what the cost would be? And it doesn't have to be exact.
I'd say 200 or under,
Okay.
200,000.
We'll change that to 200.
Or a plaque designating the name of the person who donated it to the Veterans Park.
I'll put 200 or plaque.
So it'll be a huge plaque.
I don't expect them to donate it, but I think it's possibly they might donate part of it. Wouldn't surprise me, possibly.
Is there an oil well on it?
I don't think it'd be that much money,
Okay.
but you never know. It's, you know, between two roads, has fronts on Highway 49.
Yeah, okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if you couldn't purchase for donation purchase 150,000, possibly, but it's something I'd just like to have in there, so if it's feasible,
Sure.
I don't want to break the bank. You know me.
Yeah, I do know.
I have a question on the Nexus plan. I know, like, so I was on Parks and Rec, or ACRA, for years, and we put together the Parks Master Plan, which categorized all these things. And one of the things we carved in there was the ability to spend funds. I'm particularly in my zip code, and I own there, we didn't really have a way to spend them because of just the way it was structured. So ACRA declared there to be several, like, regional parks, which really made Howard Park available for the Quimby fees that had been collected. I think those are all expended now. And so how does that connect with this?
So first point, I don't think the Quimby funds are expended yet.
They're not? Okay.
I think we've got quite a bit left of Quimby funds.
Yeah.
So there are 3 DIFs, Development Impact Fee Funds, as I understand. And one is what we've characterized as the pre-2020 fund.
Right.
And that has about 202 or 203,000 left. And that's for more localized projects throughout the county. And then there's the post-2020 fund, and there's 2 of those that spring from the most recent Nexus study.
Okay.
And one is for the more localized projects within the county.
Okay.
And then there's the regional fund.
Right, correct.
And the regional fund is the majority of the money.
Okay,
That's
all right.
670,000, I think, somewhere around there.
All
So there is money for these localized projects
Okay.
in those 2 other funds. And I think that other fund for localized projects has, I put it in the memo, I think it's around $87,000.
Okay.
Glenn, you said 3 of the cities have commented on it and updated their list?
Yeah, we heard from all but Plymouth.
Ooh,
Excuse me?
they haven't. Amador City probably one.
Amador City, they got back to me too.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard from Sandy, and also talked to Tom Du Bois about it, updates. And then we also have the City of Jackson and City of Ione here if they want to speak to any issues.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And they did provide input, so we updated.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got it on.
We've got it on here. Yeah.
All right. Might as well take city's input, see what they have to say. City of Jackson, City of Ione.
Thank you, Chair. Board of Supervisors. I'd just say that we did make a couple of adjustments to that list. There were a number of items that were there for years. A couple projects were completed. And so that list reflects our most recent evaluation of what the city really feels we need at this point. So that's all I have.
Good to see you one last time, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I apologize for the attire.
No, you're fine.
I forgot that I'd be coming today, and little did I know I'd be asked to come up and talk to you all. But thank you
We
very
wanted to
much.
say goodbye.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lee.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for your gracious contributions for the horse arena in terms of the bleachers and the panels. It's done wonders for the horse arena. This past homecoming, you don't know how many compliments we got in terms of the bleachers. There was a handrail that they could actually go up there, all the panels. We have been able to facilitate a lot more events. We have a new marketing coordinator, Mr. Fabilia. We also have a full-time Public Works employee, Taylor Unke, and they've been doing an extraordinary job promoting, okay, and booking events at the horse arena. So that money was well spent and well appreciated by the city of Ione. Okay, it's going to do wonders, and it's going to play many more dividends in the future. So, as you all know, I'm here again to advocate for the city of Ione, especially Howard Park. We've made a significant amount of progress at the Howard Park in terms of the soccer, in terms of baseball. We have new irrigation at the soccer fields. We just purchased a top dresser to address all of the grounds needs for the baseball fields as well as the soccer fields. We also approved the recent addition of lights for the phase 1 of the baseball fields. And those were all collaborative efforts with Little League, soccer, baseball, and the city contributing to purchase these things. Again, soccer and baseball, they have really stepped up to the plate along with the city. So again, we've made a lot of significant progress, and little by little, we can make more, because again, as you all know, it's a regional park, and the city has been working diligently to try to improve the park. There's a lot more growth coming in, a significant amount of growth. And to the point that Mr. Oneta said before, with respect to an issue that the city of Ione did not participate in, I do believe that might warrant some more discussions in the future, because with new development coming in, that might be an opportunity to explore that area. Okay, because again, I took your comments to heart, and again, the city of Ione always wants to contribute and be a participant with the county, so forth. And so I do believe that might warrant some conversation in the future. But at the same time, again, I think with the city of Ione and Howard Park, if we can just, the main need right now, I think, is with the soccer fields. I spoke with the president yesterday. They're in great need of some fencing around the soccer fields, because there's a thin metal rope that separates a lot of the fields, which is kind of dangerous. So a 3-foot or 4-foot fence, I think, would do wonders. And then also maybe the addition of bleachers there, because again, there's no bleachers at the soccer fields. Everybody just brings their chairs, and I think some bleachers would be an outstanding contribution. So again, on behalf of the city, I want to thank you for the bleachers at the horse arena and the panels. It did do a significant contribution, and it worked out well. And because of that, we're generating a lot more events at the thing. So, okay, thank you.
Mr. Lee, too, as far as bleachers, you got to keep an eye on that. It's a thing called public surplus.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, some of the stuff that gets sold out of some of these colleges and universities, it's amazing what they sell.
Yeah, no, we're always.
You might find some bleachers for $100.
Yes. So our superintendent, Zach Finches, usually he looks at everything. And it's always just about the money. It's always about the money, right? Yeah. So, any other questions?
No, thank you for the update. All right. Any other public comment? Any Zoomers?
No, not at this time.
All right, we'll bring it back to the board. No, actually, we have to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Brown, a second by Supervisor Oneta to close the public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, now we've got a resolution.
I'll move to approve the resolution to update the Nexus study.
And with a addition or amendment as far as the possible purchase of property for parking at the Plymouth Veterans Park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Friendly agreement, yes, sir.
I'll second that then.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Epperson, a second by Supervisor Oneta to update the proposed CIP with correction or with modifications. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now we'll go back to the regular agenda. And we are on 4C, GSA again.
Again?
Approval of Amador Trail Stewart Project at Molly Joyce Park.
All right. So, GSA Director Glenn Spitzer again. This is about the Molly Joyce Bicycle Skills Park. And we got Bradley Booker here, who's the proponent of that project. He's the brains behind it, from what I understand. So this came before the Parks and Rec Committee on March 3rd and was approved or recommended for approval. And then on March 10, we brought the MOU with Amador Trail Steward, and that's Bradley Booker's organization. And that MOU basically says that Amador Trail Steward, ATS, will maintain these trails at no cost to the county. So that's a great thing. We've got an estimated cost of $16,400, and the request today is to use the DIF funds that we were just talking about from Regional Park Fund, the Regional Park DIF Fund, for this project in the amount of $16,400. I don't know if, you don't need to.
All right, any public comment?
Well, I've got a comment.
Yes.
I didn't happen to look. Is this included in that nexus to where we can use it? Or do we have to back up to where we were? Okay.
Yeah, thought you just said that. No Zoomers either? Okay, they're a quiet bunch today. What does the board want to do here?
I would make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
All right, we had a motion to approve the Amador Trail Steward project at Molly Joyce Park not to exceed $16,400 by Supervisor Cornell and a second by Supervisor Brown. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 4D, GSA. Why don't you stay up here?
I know. The next 4 items are waiver requests.
Yes.
For park use permits. So this is a new process. And so we've taken over parks. Just to put this in context, the county's taken over parks. There's a fee for the rental of the park and an application fee and an ability from the applicant to get a waiver for those things. So we've got 4 requests for waivers, and the first is Senior Center, and they seek to use the Vets Hall at Pioneer Park regularly at an estimated waiver of because the estimated cost of $150 a month to rent that facility. So their waiver, I'm assuming matches that. I don't know if somebody from the Senior Center is here today.
Right there.
Oh, all right. You want to speak to it? Okay.
Good morning, Chairman Crew. Good morning, Board. Good morning,
Morning.
County staff. Good to see all of you here today. One of the missions of the Senior Center is to localize services in the communities in which people live to create better access to social connection, to health improvement, exercise. And we actually run a congregate site up in Pioneer at Sierra Baptist Church, which is administrated by Pastor Ryan. He's actually back here. And Bruce Davidge helps that site so that people in the area can access food services. And the Vet Hall in Pioneer Park is one of those efforts to localize services. So we hold exercise classes there, and we also have line dancing taking place there. And the line dancing is so popular, we actually have a participant driving from Ione to Pioneer to enjoy those services, as well as Sutter Creek. So in our effort, we depend upon partners to make that happen, because we don't have a facility location in these remote sites. We depend on the in-kind contribution of folks like Pastor Ryan and his kind church, and we requested of the county as well that we're able to use the location in kind to provide these services for very low cost to participants. Any questions?
I have a couple thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead. I do too, but go ahead, Brian.
I think maybe Chairman Crew, you and I may have talked about this, or maybe it was Mr. Riley, I can't remember exactly, but I think one concern I would have is if we do waive fees, you know, we don't want to have to be sending general services up to clean up the garbage, clean up the floor, clean up the mess. That's one thing I'd be looking at, is because it's one thing if you waive the fees and the building, and I'm not saying you wouldn't, or a group, but you know, sometimes you have groups usually use a place, they have their deal and everybody leaves, and then the county facilities has to come up and take out the garbage, clean up this, clean up that, and that's an additional cost, you know, to the county, whether it's, you know, cost or even personnel hours. That's something I think maybe if we end up going forward and waiving these fees, we should really look at and tell them, hey, you know, we're doing that, but if you're not going to keep our facilities clean, you will pay. Whichever way the board goes, you know, that's just a thought.
Does the county have an official policy as far as reducing fees, or is it a case by case, or is it based on?
Appeal process.
Yeah, it's a waiver, this waiver process.
Yeah.
And it's case by case, and the board can handle it however they want to handle it, whether it's waiver for a certain period of time, like in this case, to assess whether it's the facility's being treated right, or in the case of some of these, just a one big hit, boom, this event is fully covered. We've got a couple of just big events that are seeking waivers.
Then what are the real impacts? I mean, I don't mind, you know, waiving them or reducing them or something, but what's the actual impacts to the county?
I think Supervisor Neto just hit the nail on the head. It's going to be GSA time in just cleaning up, and we're moving forward with addressing certain access issues to make all of that more efficient.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that there's no issue there, but I think just the cleanup.
Okay, because I know it's like you have to have staff grab a key, run up there, open it up, and then closing it, and then who checks it out after it's all done? I mean, that has to be done, I think, anyway. Probably costs pretty small amount, I think, to do that. Perhaps, I'm not sure what, but
Gas driving up that.
right, yeah.
There.
So there is some cost. I mean, I don't think we need to recover all the costs, but I think it would probably wise to recover some of it. I think just to offset it a little bit. I mean, I know how tight we are, but I don't want to impact other fees.
Yeah, actually, that was a question I had, Chris. For you, I know, you know, per your answer to us was that you're only requesting like $2 from the participants to cover your insurance to cover that. Is there a way of, per se, doubling that to ask your participants to donate, but on the same aspect of if you can't afford it, you're 78 years old and you know, the whole routine, and I understand that. But, you know, like the line dancing, I know you have some people that are there under 60, and how can we, because, you know, this is a drain on our budget, and that place definitely needs some TLC, you know, as we're looking at it, so I'd like to be able to afford that as much as possible, and then, you know, go from there. But I'm also looking at possibly in the future doing some volunteer work up there too. And so, you know, whatever we can possibly work at. But yours would be the heaviest load on the facility between these two things, which is not that much of a load, but it's still a thought process. And so I'm asking if we can think outside the box of somehow of working in this both together.
So if I understand your question correctly, you're asking if we could charge more. Is that what?
Not really I mean, yeah, ask for a donation for the county to keep the facility up.
Well, anything's possible. I think that how we would react is dependent on the decision of the board.
Right. No, I understand that,
So
but
if
if
the board decided
we were
to-
waiver most of it, but to say, hey, can you help us out? You know, that's kind of what we're looking at. You know, the donations you are, you know, giving would be for this facility, you know,
Sure.
so that we could you could put a line item for this facility, correct, Glenn?
A line item in terms
Of accepting funds.
You mean for this particular applicant?
Right.
Sure. Yeah, we could do whatever the board wants us to.
Anyhow,
Yeah. A discounted rate, the board is wide open in what they can do with this.
And so that's, you know, because
I don't know
if we
if I-
don't, you know, it is a cost, you know, we've hurt everyone in this county as far as, you know, taking for the budget. So I'm just looking at there's some way which would help seniors, which I definitely want to help a senior, but is there any way we can help the county at the same time? You know, not, you know, we're not gonna, I'm hoping that the board will waive your fees, but you could possibly, you know, in turn say, okay, we can return this amount of money, see what your participants would be able to afford.
Yes, of course. So anything's possible.
Right.
Absolutely, and we would react again to whatever the decision of the Board of Supervisors is. To be honest, if we raised our requested contribution to $4 per class and we saw a precipitous decline in participation, we're going to move the groups.
Understand.
So we would seek out other partners, other facilities to make it happen, because we really want to offer to older adults, and it's not primarily older adults. We do make our center available to anyone because we value intergenerational connection, but at a very low cost. We would consider moving the groups if we saw interest decline based upon those costs. Absolutely. So anything's possible.
And so I'm just, you know, I'm looking at it from that standpoint to see what we could possibly work together on in that aspect.
Sure.
Okay. But that, of course, like you're saying, that's up to your clientele.
It really comes down to what they're willing to bear, and if the board were to move in that direction, would the board consider our perspective that we don't turn people away for their inability to contribute? So that's an aspect, you know, a piece of that of that decision as well. We do like to, as much as possible, make access as easy as possible for people, not only by location, which I spoke about earlier, but also by low cost or option.
And it could be the $2 to your insurance and $1 to the county, you know, or, you know, whatever will work out the best. That's what I'm.
Okay, so what I hear you talking about then
I
is
understand.
possibly like a $3 or a $4 requested donation with anything over $2 going to the county. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah.
Am I hearing that correctly?
I mean, that's what.
We could do that.
I know you got to cover your own insurance costs because insurance is just a crazy thing in this world.
It's a lot. We pay ours. I know you pay yours.
I do.
It is quite a bit. So again, we could do something like that for sure, and then reassess in 6 months. But again, if we saw participation decline, we would have to relocate and look for another place, because we don't want the services to be cost prohibitive to the participants. It would just,
I understand that.
I think he was saying like your $2, but and then whatever they could donate above that would be appreciated, you know.
Sure.
Along that line. I don't think I'd put in a special line item. It might be some more a pain to track, but just whatever money goes back, goes to general services, I'd think.
Well, I just think that, you know, so we have an idea, you know, what's happening, and, you know, is this benefiting both of us?
the real issue is that we're making a fundamental change based on the realities of a $3.5 million budget deficit we started with in March, which getting us to look at everything.
Sure.
And now Glenn did a study, a pretty comprehensive study of what our actual costs are.
well, and to be fair, when ACRA was running it and administrating the building, we did pay, I think it was an annual fee to use the facility. So having some sort of fee in place or cost-sharing revenue is not impossible.
That's what I was
we've
gonna
done
get
it.
to. We
Right.
have to get away from giving it away at the expense of others to make any group, it doesn't matter what. But if we could, I propose that we start off with a 30% of whatever the fee is. So instead of $150, it'd be $45. And at least we'd get used to paying it, see how it works, and see if that affects. And then we can renegotiate, but you all know it's gonna always renegotiate upward.
Oh, it always goes up, doesn't it?
Well, we're off of the battle of, yeah, I'm being honest with you. We're off of the battle of do we pay or not.
Sure.
We've established that there's a value to this and we have to pay, even though we're reducing it as our in-kind contribution. All those waivers that, Accra, no wonder they went out of business.
Yeah. No,
Well, to be fair to Accra, we did pay
Yeah.
something.
I didn't know that.
Maybe it wasn't enough. I don't know.
But
I didn't run that
so
organization.
You're used to paying, so a reasonable,
Sure.
like $45 a month, is that reasonable?
Sure. Yeah.
And I think basically what we're looking at is, hey, taxpayer pay a lot of dollars. How those dollars are allocated and where they go, what they pay for is really, it's $1 million question. Well, it's probably $120-some million question or $166 million question, depending what the budget is. And that's kind of what we're looking at. And so it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, we can say we're giving these services, we're providing these services free to the taxpayer. We're providing these services free to groups, whether it's a church, Rotary Club, Girl Scouts, Senior Services. But on the other hand, people can say, hey, I pay tax dollars, and what do I get for it? So I understand that. We're trying to find a way to, we're looking at our budgets kind of upside down. And I think part of the thing is, so we're trying to get that budget right side up. So you're probably, so we're looking at what's costing the county money. I also look at sometimes what some of the salaries we pay are and what some of the expenses we pay are in big dollars. And then I look at how we're looking at little dollars, but we got to look at little dollars too. So it's a hard question because people want to use these facilities. People pay tax dollars. We're trying to keep the county solvent. How do we do it? I struggle with it. But if you could do, maybe we talked about that fee we talked about. If you can ask people, hey, can you maybe try raising that fee and get too much pushback, maybe lower it. I mean, I get that. But we'd like you to ask.
I think we already got a consensus. He said he could live with $45.
I like a set number as opposed to arbitrary donations. Just, that's a 66% discount.
Yeah.
I think everybody can live with
That's a
that.
pretty good in-kind.
Okay.
Fair.
For us to help keep it going at low cost.
And you got a set fee, that would be nice.
Yeah.
That you can work with.
We appreciate anything you can do.
Well, that would be my recommendation.
Now, you think that'll work for you too?
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Okay.
Nope.
I'm good.
We appreciate access to the building and the services we're able to provide up country.
Yeah. Noble effort. Not against it at all. Okay. Do we want to vote on them individually?
Public comment first.
Yeah, public comment, yeah. Sorry. Anyone want to talk about?
And this is just for the senior center
Yeah.
portion.
We're taking these individually.
It's fine if you want to call them all together, but you would vote on them separately.
Well, some of them are a little different. One's a Rotary Club. I think we need to kind of establish a pattern. So if they've got time, let's just do them individually.
So you want a motion?
Yeah.
I'd make a motion that we reduce the fee for the senior center to $45. Is that a month?
Yeah.
Per month, and it's used, I guess, maybe 8 times a month, is that right? But 3 times per week, okay.
So that's $12. You're renting the building for $12 per use.
Probably less than that.
Paying annually.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you understand the value. When you get something for nothing, unfortunately, after a while, you think that's what it's worth.
So I'd make a motion, we reduce the fee, to 30% of its,
A third.
a third.
Yeah.
33% of its,
Stated amount.
of stated amount for the senior center for that building.
Second?
Second?
Second. All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Cornell and a second by Supervisor Neto to authorize a reduced fee for the senior center.
Just to be clear, $45 per month flat,
Yeah,
regardless of amount of use. That's consistent with traditional use.
yeah,
Consistent with traditional use.
yeah,
That's still very, very, very cheap.
yeah.
Pay more gas.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your understanding.
Go, Chris.
You got something else?
Part of that agenda item was a Meals on Wheels presentation very briefly.
Oh, yeah. We
So
don't
I
forget
just
about that.
Yeah, I didn't want to skip that. So again, good morning to you. So Meals on Wheels is an incredible service to older adults because it allows them to live in their homes independently, provides home delivered meals, and we're very excited to have been awarded the contract for the period, the RFP period of 26 through 2030. We'll be continuing to provide Meals on Wheels in Amador County, as well as in Calaveras County. And the importance of this program, again, is it allows older adults to remain in their homes, live independently with dignity, to receive nutritious content every day through our volunteer driver network and our employee driver network. We are dedicated in Amador to providing a hot meal every single day, 5 days a week, which you can imagine is growing quite expensive under these fuel costs that we're facing, as well as increased food costs and fuel surcharges being passed on to us through our vendors. So as we meet those challenges, I can completely empathize with the county's struggle with making budgets work for the people that we are serving. And our goal is to serve these folks in Amador County. We ask for a $5 contribution for each meal that's received. Again, that's completely voluntary, and participants do not have to contribute to participate in the program, which many choose not to, which makes connecting the red and the black of a budget very difficult at times with regard to outflows and inflows. I wanted to report to you as far as the numbers I had most recent through April. We were able to deliver 32,333 meals so far this fiscal year. I don't have May totals and that we're in it right now, but pretty impressive numbers. I project that we'll probably be around 38 to 39,000 meals delivered by the end of the fiscal year, which is really exciting because each one of these units of service, yes, it represents a hot meal, but each one of those units of service represents a person receiving a daily connection and social interaction with a driver. It also represents somebody who's receiving further services, whether it's transportation services that we offer to medical appointments in the community, or our pet support program, or our senior peer visitor program that offers a more in-depth social connection to older adults on the program who want to talk or visit with somebody more in depth than what a driver can provide stopping off. And I did want to point out one of our volunteer drivers, Andy Alone, right here. I've got a lot of volunteers in the audience today. I'm grateful for people like Andy who make the cost feasibility of this program possible, because every time Andy drives, it turns into saved costs to the center. And I wanted to highlight what that looks like. We had 599.6 volunteered hours through April. Every time Andy comes into the center, he fills out a timesheet like he would as if he were an employee, although he's retired. And that brings a value, if you were to place minimum wage at $16.90 per hour donated, of about $10,133 in savings to the center. So this program not only depends upon people dedicating their time, but it also is social connection for our volunteers like Andy. So Andy's out in the community making a difference. He's connecting with older adults who are like age, and he's able to resource them and encourage them and be a connection for them when he shows up. But this program also benefits Andy because he's out there with a sense of purpose and contribution to his community and to society, which makes a difference in Andy's life as well. And finally, I wanted to highlight that we distributed 1,215 pounds of pet food to clients alongside those hot meals that they receive. And we provided 463 hours of friendly visits, which is that friendly visitor program that I spoke of earlier. It's a deeper social connection for people. And with that, I welcome any questions on our Meals on Wheels program, which this board has generously supported and I hope continues to support. Thank you for that support. You make it possible for these results. Any questions?
I just wanted to say, I know our partner counties really appreciate Amador County stepping up to provide meals for Calaveras County, because they got kind of a pinch a while back, and they relayed to me many times they appreciate what we've done to help them out.
No, you seem to run a pretty good operation over there, and the meals are always pretty good too, so.
I understand Supervisor Oneto, you show up to the Plymouth site occasionally and have lunch over there with some of your constituents, and they're very happy to see you at Plymouth, which is our newest site, and I hope you enjoy the food. I'm glad you're there.
Food's always good. I mean, it's impressively good.
Do you contribute the $5?
He contributes 10 or 20, I'm sure.
Yes, I do.
Moving right along.
Wow.
No, impressive, always impressive.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, 4E is the GSA again, a fee waiver request for the Rotary Club event at Pioneer Park.
Yeah, this is a big event at Pioneer Park on September 19. It's the rib cook-off. And the Rotary Club seeks a waiver of $920 for this application. That covers rental fees for the park and the application fee itself. So I don't know if somebody is here.
Yeah, they're here.
Well,
Patiently waiting.
before these patient people come forward, I would like to thank them for all the work they have done at the park. They have done more and more work at the park than the $900 for the fees we're asking for. You know, they did the dog park. They've done, you know, the basketball hoop, which of course is now just broken, but hey. And I did tell Andy that the old backboard is still sitting over at the GSA building for the old. So I'm hoping this board will waive their fee too. Because they definitely work in lieu of.
Thank you for inviting us to speak today. Again, for those of you who don't know, Rotary Club of America Upcountry we're a service organization that provides youth scholarships, leadership camps, many community projects such as park improvements. We built the Pioneer Dog Park. We've done playgrounds. We did the Little League field at Molly Joyce and other projects. Bus shelters, air conditioning at Pine Grove Community Hall, signage going into Pine Grove. So this is a fundraiser to sponsor our youth services. And we gave out a lot of scholarships last night. Was it, Chaz, the other night?
Last Tuesday.
And tonight we're going to go back.
The other bus.
See you there.
So all our proceeds that we make from this event, minus expenses, go to these causes. In addition to providing funds for local community services, it helps support our local vendors, serves the upcountry community, which has limited fun events. Now that they've taken away TGIF, now we're not going to have the music this year. So this, with our band, this helps showcase the Pioneer Park also, so that the community will take advantage of all the amenities. This event brings many people. We've had over 200 people the last 4 years come to this event, and they all say, we didn't know they had events like this upcountry. So it's a big item for our upcountry people. And again, it also reinforces our community spirit. If you come to this event, you'll see that a lot of people are out there dancing. We have people, again, we have golf carts that come down to pick up the people that can't walk at our lower fields. We have our, Denise here, she runs the program every year. For the last 4 years, it does a great job. We provide all the food for the ribs, for our rib cookers. The Rotary pays for that. We also clean up after ourselves by having what do we order for cleanup there? Denise, you want to talk a little about what we do there, or Bob?
How clean up?
In other words, what do we provide? In other words, again, we provide, again,
We bring the dumpster in, we bring the porta potties in. We don't leave until it's cleaned up completely.
We clean it up before we get there.
Yeah.
And we clean it up after we leave.
I'm willing to waive the fee just for that. There you go.
we have our own insurance. So we're just asking, because again, the amount of money that we make for this event is not very high. It's really going toward the youth services. So it's really giving back to the community. And so when we're asking for this waiver, it's really based on how many hours of good, things we're doing for the community. That's, how much is that worth? And we've been doing it for 4 years. And again, if you see these 200 people come up, are just dying to see something upcountry that gives them some value. And I've already heard complaints this year about the TGIF now is not going to be up at Molly Joyce this year. So that they've taken something away from music from upcountry people. So this is something I think is well responded, and that is why we're asking for this waiver, for those reasons. Anything else?
The $900 goes to the kids. I mean, that we would have to pay to rent the facility. That's money we would spend on scholarships. That's money that we support a scout troop. That's money that would go to send kids to Leadership Academy, high school and junior high kids. So by paying that fee, that's less money that we can contribute to those things.
Just wanted to say that, I'm Denise Benson, that it's really not a big fundraiser for us at all. It's basically cover our expenses. That it's really just a community, putting our name out there, providing all this for the community. It's vendors selling their crafts, it's cars coming, it's music, it's a rib cook-off like we talked about. It's really just an event that everybody appreciates in our community.
I don't have anything to say. But I would invite you to come. It's traditionally the third Saturday in September, the 19th this year. And we'd love to see you up there. You'd be our honored guests. We could introduce you from the microphone. You could take...
No, come on, you've made fun of me the last couple times.
We try to do that as well. But as the Rotary Club of Upcountry, we need to make sure that the activities that we do benefit the Volcano Pine Grove Pioneer area, and this is one of the largest events that takes place up there. And as Denise said, we don't really make a lot of money off of that. Our largest fundraiser is the crab feed. And I hope that a number of you have been to the crab feed. It's an annual event. I think we're maybe up into the 40th, well, almost 40 years or somewhere in that neighborhood of having the crab feed continually. And all of those funds go back into our community.
Any questions for us?
Well, I will say this, it's times like this I don't like being a supervisor.
I might argue, like, I don't want to argue the value of your event because, I mean, it certainly does, but I would just argue the waiver of the fee because you put far more than that into the park. I would waive it on that basis. Not that the event doesn't have value, but everybody's event has value to them, and then everybody's fee gets waived. And I would just say, to me, it's the investment already back into the park that you're asking to use as makes it a different category for me, personally.
I would agree with that. It changes the equation a little bit.
It does.
It's an outdoor event. It's a little different than renting a building, too.
Well, yeah, they're putting more back than they're taking. I think that's to be lauded.
But we're gonna be chasing waivers forever. How about a $50 fee, a minimum fee, just for whatever to use it? It is an outdoor event, you clean it up, I get all of
I'm also the treasurer.
Yeah.
I think we
You're the
wanna
one I
handle
wanna talk to.
$50.
Right.
2 bits.
Any public comment on this? You are the public. Oh, no, we got a few back. All right, what's the pleasure of the board? I know it's a case-by-case basis.
You know, it sounds like a $50 fee has been suggested, and they seem to be agreeable to that, so I'll make a motion that we waive the fee down to $50.
I'll second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor.
Under comment, a little discussion, I think I get it, we're trying to balance a budget, we're trying to get things in order, but I think what Supervisor Carnell said is, and what you folks said as far as the work you've done, that offsets that. But
Just agreed to it.
Are you volunteering to pay it out of your fund? I'm sorry.
I understand that, I'm just looking at it fairly, that's all, trying to.
Well, we had a motion and a second. Call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm gonna say nay.
All right. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
And just, I guess, explanation of my vote, it's, I think, from what they said, the amount of work and effort they put into the parks, I think, helps offset that fee, so that's why I didn't want to.
That's fine. No problem. Pass
Not that's
4-1.
against the Rotary Club, that's all I want to say.
Yeah, they've been incredibly helpful department.
We appreciate that, for sure.
All right, 4F is a waiver request by Girl Scout Troop 872, regular meetings at Pioneer Park.
At Vets Hall, once a month, I understand that they meet. And Girl Scouts, the Girl Scout representative, Kayla Reeder, couldn't be here today. She submitted a letter to the board. She's a fourth grade teacher over at Pioneer Elementary School, and they're wrapping school up right now, so they've got a lot going on. So, long and short of it, she can't be here. It's $50 per month for the Girl Scouts.
Question, is there a refundable deposit on the senior center too?
Yes.
Okay.
And so this request also includes the waiver of the $250 refundable deposit.
I don't think I want to do that.
Okay.
That's like a cleaning deposit, something along that line?
Yes. I don't think it extends to just regular routine issues, but I think it extends to damage or things that are beyond normal wear and tear.
Yeah.
What's 30% of 50?
30% of 50, quick.
Like 12,
20, right?
12.2.
$15.
15.
Yeah. No, 15.75.
Well, wouldn't be quite, yeah, it'd be
12.50.
not quite that.
Well, that'll make it $50 a month.
It's 50 now.
Yeah, 50. They have 4 meetings.
It'd be like one, yeah.
Do that one, make it 25.
50% cut, $25 a month.
Yeah, since we're doing it by individual cases. Is that a motion?
I'd make a motion to, to retain, keep the deposit in place, but reduce the fee by 50%.
Second.
All right.
You beat me.
Didn't ask for any public comment on this one, so. Any public comment? All right, we're back. We have a motion and a second to reduce the fee and keep the cleaning deposit. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Yes. All right, 4G is another one. This is from Sierra Baptist Church for a July 4th celebration at Pioneer Park.
Yes, and this is a request for a waiver of $430. And the refundable deposit has already been paid. And the church paid $30 of the application fee. So, I don't know if somebody here from the, okay.
He's here.
There we go.
They're here.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Pastor Ryan from Sierra Baptist Church. Thanks for sticking around and hearing all of us talk today. This is Bruce Davidge as well. He's been a member of our church and a helper at the carnival. It's been getting close to 2 decades we've been a part of this, and the community carnival for the 4th of July is something I know, Jeff, you've been over there. We have dunked you in the dunk tank and
Everything.
Thank you, and that's the point. Rotary Club, you guys have been there. What it is our church has wanted to give something as a gift to the community. The idea behind it, we want to provide services and an opportunity to celebrate Independence Day, give people a chance. We also open that up to other upcountry nonprofits and organizations to have a booth and representation. That includes Amador Sheriff's, local fire department. Red Cross is going to come. Joe Luttrell and the Red Cross folks are going to be doing public safety demonstrations for kids and adults. So this has been our event, and much like the other groups as well, we're certainly not opposed to putting in to make sure we can do that, but we do try to make it as low impact as possible on the park. We as well bring in our own garbage cans and take care of the trash afterwards. We bring in our facilities. Everything more or less we ask it. It is a no cost as much as we can. We don't charge for anybody for the event. We provide all the food. We have carnival games and prizes. We provide the music, the insurance, and what. We try to make this as little impact to the community, more as a gift as much as we can. And that's what we're looking at to see, again, if we can kind of make that work with you guys. Some of the fees are a little bit more than we've been able to budget. It had been a change for us from years past, so we figured we'd ask you guys and see what we could work out.
Okay.
So, yeah. Do you have any questions about the event or about this?
What's 33% of 400 and what?
133, Logan. I was gonna suggest that you pay 10%, but pastor, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You know, one thing I will say, maybe sometimes when certain elected officials come in and want pretty big, healthy raises, I would hope we would remember these conversations we're having today. Some of the increases some elected officials have had, I think, have been there's a pastor here, so I won't cuss, but I think maybe way too darn much. And we're here trying to save a few dollars.
Yep.
But I'd like to remember that in the future. So that's my
Outdoor
gripe.
event, they do all their cleanups, very similar to the Rotary Club event.
So that's going back to,
$100?
it's a pet peeve of mine. Some of the increase we've given out, I think, have been rather large. But people say they're expensive and worth it, but I think also you folks are worth it too.
I appreciate it.
So similar event to Rotary.
Similar people.
Have the minimum fee of $50 or
It's
whatever.
the same people, actually.
Yeah, probably is a lot of the same people, yeah,
I was nice and didn't say names.
yeah.
Very good.
No.
Oh, you were so nice. So, anyway, any public comment on this? Bring it back to the board.
You're thinking maybe they pay the same thing the Rotary paid, $50.
Yeah, if they say, they sound like the same spiel. We pick up our own, we police the area, it's a one-day deal. Just a minimum fee to,
To give an example of how, the last time because I usually do the cooking. And the last time I can remember we did a count, we served 700 meals during this event.
Wow, that's a lot.
I'm not saying we got 700 people there. But we served 700 meals because some of them took food home for dinner. That's fine with us.
or you had 50 teenagers.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We do hand out stuff and do head counts, but in the same way, we have a registration booth. We want to see who we're helping. But people come from all over the place, from every angle to come into the park, and a lot of our counts have ranged over the years. Started off with like 20 people showing up, and then in the last few years, it's been circa 400 people we've seen. But yeah, 700. We've actually have had 700 head count on one of the years,
Yeah.
but That was a little pre-COVID. Things are a little slow since, but we still serve, like I said, about 300 to 400 people in the last few years each time, so we hope to serve more. And,
If you ever want to see something silly, is to watch little kids eating donuts off a string.
oh, I hope that never goes away.
Okay.
This is a good old-fashioned kiddie carnival adults love to watch. I have to apologize. This year I won't be able to attend with my lollipop thing because I've got the 4th of July on the Saturday at the same time was.
Asking a lot of people to come out and represent on a holiday's hard. I get that, dude. So, no.
I'll be occupied by actually Volcano.
Okay.
So.
Okay, looking for a motion on
I'd
this.
make a motion, oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I'd make a motion that we reduce the fee to $50, the same as the
Outdoor
Rotary.
park fee for people who police it.
Yep. And thank you for your contribution to the community and that's part of my emotion,
Yeah,
and
I
the
like
park.
Oh, I guess I'll second it then.
All right. We
I mean, I like his comment thanking him, but I'll second it.
had a motion by Supervisor Carnell, who's a motion fool today.
I know.
And a second by
Got 'em going.
I'm looking at the clock.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good work, thank you. And helping us out a little bit.
Thank you. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Glenn, you don't have any comment on the minutes?
Oh, we got one more minutes.
No, we got the,
All right.
One more
we got
resolution.
Clean California still.
In California.
California, yeah.
Maybe I didn't have that.
4H, in California designation.
Depending where you are in California, this could be the truth or it could be a misnomer. Depending
Oh,
what town
okay.
you're in.
4H is further discussion and possible action relative to a commitment by the board to obtain the Clean California Community Designation for Amador County. This is brought back, and we had a few boxes we hadn't checked, is that?
The board sent it to the Solid Waste Committee. That's where it went, and it languished. So it's come back. Apparently, there's a deadline as of the 1st of June for us to make this commitment if we're going to do it. There are grants available for various purposes. Some are 100% grants, some require a contribution from the county. But we could use this designation as a springboard to get more funding.
Now, this was where we had the funding for the Firewise, keeping California clean for around the Veterans Hall. I think that's where part of it came from.
Where part of this designation came from? Or?
Yeah, because Clean California, because the director was actually there at the Veterans Hall that was helping us clean up the next day.
Well, there are 10 criteria that we have to hit in order to get them. Most of them are not that significant. There are a couple that are going to require some meetings and some a body of people to attend to.
I think at times there can be some pretty good grant funding coming about from it. I saw where they did some trails and some that were pretty substantial. And where this probably came from, actually where it came from was Jim Wise with Plymouth. They did some work there. And Jim was telling me, extolling the virtues of it, and it seemed to make sense. And so that's kind of how it came about. And I don't see it, I mean, there may be a little bit of staff time. I don't see a lot of costs other than a little staff time. And I think the benefit could be worthwhile. I don't see a real downside to it.
So the question is, who do you want to have take the lead on this?
I would wonder maybe if, probably General Services. You think?
We can certainly do that. Solid waste, code enforcement, and Code enforcement's got a hand in it because of the cleanups. And Michelle leads the cleanups and has her hand in those already.
Well, that might be a better place in, yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, yeah, I think that'd be fine. Still, it's okay at the board.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm good.
Yeah. Want somebody who's involved in the
Okay.
process.
So we will take that as direction to go forward and finalize the documentation for the application.
Yeah, I think it has to be done, I'm not sure, but I believe by June 2nd, I think.
That wouldn't be the first, because that's a Sunday.
Pardon?
Monday, Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah.
We need a motion on this, or just direction?
I think direction's fine.
Public comment.
Any public comment on this item?
You know,
Okay. I'm
good.
okay. Everybody,
you think direction's okay then?
You wanna vote on it, that's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
was that a
Do
motion?
we want to vote on if there needs to be something signed, that the chair can sign it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd make the motion that, go ahead with the Clean California program, and if there's anything that needs to be signed, any documents, that the chair can sign those documents as needed.
I'll second.
Okay, we had a motion by Supervisor Oneto, a second by Supervisor Brown. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Now, the minutes of April 28th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Right, we have a motion by Supervisor Brown, a second by Supervisor Epperson to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. And this meeting is adjourned until, what, June 9th? Okay. Now, we got about 10 minutes, so it's the yeah. I'm sure April or Heather can get you one.